Joining us now is our financial contributor, Ray Martin, and psychologist Michelle Callahan, a contributor to Women's Health magazine. A subject that is rich for discussion here, guys. Let's put up that statistic that we saw in the piece there, because it is so remarkable. In 1970, 4% of women earned more than their husbands. Now it's 22%. Michelle, surprising?
Not surprising at all. Women have been chasing after that glass ceiling for a long time, and so we've been waiting for that income gap between men and women to finally close. This is actually a very positive thing for women, for marriages, and for families.
Ray, how does this change the financial discussions at home these days?
Well, I think the modern household today does have two incomes. It's more the rule rather than the exception. The last 2 decades, with the changes in the economy and the workforce, you've had to have that to have a buffer to survive. Now today, when you have two incomes or women earning more in the household, you got to have to ask who's leading the finances, who's managing the finances, how are we making the most of the benefit choices and decisions that we have in the household? And you got to think of the more valuable contribution that person's making, and do you ensure that properly?
Spread the responsibilities
Absolutely.
around. That's not the only remarkable number. Look at the one on college graduation rates. In 1970, 64% of men were graduating. That is down now in 2007 to 46%. That's a huge drop. But for women, an enormous increase. They went from 36% in 1970 to now more women are college graduates. Michelle, how does this affect the dynamic?
You know, because women are getting out there, they're getting educated, they're accomplishing more, they're learning more, and so that changes the dynamic in a marriage because they want to participate in the decisions that are being made. So the traditional roles are now changing. Women are not just going to be wives and mothers. They're trying to be more equal partners in a marriage in terms of how everything happens.
Ray, who's running the finances more these days in the home?
Yeah, I see it as a mix, or when you have two earners really busy in the household, no one's really doing a good job running them today when I see that. And there's often confusion or a lack of coordination or talking about it. But that stat on the college education thing, that's surprising to me to some extent, but then not. When you think about the kind of jobs, who's in the workforce, women in healthcare, the legal profession, education, those require college degrees, master's degrees. And you think about the jobs in the economy that have turned in manufacturing, transportation, construction, jobs that men had didn't necessarily require degrees, and they've lost more of those jobs in this economic downturn.
Final number I want to show you, another one that may interest a lot of people. Between the years of 1970 and 2007, women's earnings grew 44%, compared with just a 6% growth for men. Another big number. Does this only increase as we go along, Michelle, then?
I think so. I think this is, again, I said before, a great thing for women, but it's really great for families. Even though it seems like it could create conflict, it's an opportunity for men and women to talk more about how they spend their money, because yes, women are going to continue to get more degrees. They're going to continue to be more successful in their careers. It's going to change that traditional dynamic. But if you're not competitive with your partner and you sit down and you really talk about your finances, it can still be a very positive thing for your family.
Ray, is it true that when you talk about talking with your partner about what's going to happen inside the house financially, is it true that one is usually the spender and one is the saver?
That right there, Jeff, is the center of most financial catastrophe in households. You know, one really spends a lot, the other one really tries to save a lot, and the person who might be making more saying, hey, I can spend a lot more, and you really can't say anything about it. Was the men's reaction to that? Well, now women are finding empowered by that and saying, hey, wait a minute, I'm making more here, I'm allowed to spend, come on, now let me do that, don't police me on my spending, and that's a big bone of contention here, and you gotta work that out. But Jeff, I look at these trends right now as social Darwinism. I think these trends are in play for a while and going to continue because women have had to fight and scratch for advancements in the workforce and advancements in pay, and they've become survivors and better at it than men. Men didn't have to do that, so men have been more complacent. So women got the momentum right now.
Okay, Ray Martin and Dr. Michelle Callahan, we thank you both this morning.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Now here's Maggie.